That's
That's
why we're
exactly it.
here. I
It's
believe we are here because we feel so much. We know what the world needs. Bring it into balance, to balance this crazy world that we live in right now, which we don't have to go into. But oh my goodness, the sensitivity, this to slow down, to live more cyclically, to allow, rest and honor, the different qualities of humans, not just forcing, pushing the more masculine qualities, etc., that have been, um, put in
mhm.
front of ones, for example, and just so many things that sensitivity can show you, can bring you, can open you up to. And yeah, there's just so much.
Welcome to Sensitive Stories. This episode is for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for treatment with a mental health or medical professional. Let's dive in. Hi, Tara. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast again.
It's so lovely to be here again. Thank you.
Thank you. And so listeners might remember you were on the podcast before. I believe it was episode 43. We talked about sensitive leadership. But now we're going to do a little pivot. We're going to be exploring the theme of your new book, Embodied Power, which is exciting. Yes. So I wonder, for folks who may not know what that word means, embodied, could we just describe what it is and maybe why it's important?
Yeah, I mean, it's as it sounds. It's literally bringing things into the body and like giving the body a say in, in what we do, how we be, how we are, how we show up, and then how that, comes into our lives, different areas of our lives. But it's, yeah, really coming back into the body, because we're taught from, the minute we can read and write and do things, that it's all up here in the head. And we don't acknowledge how we feel when we're hungry, when we're thirsty, when we're tired, just our body's messages. So
Hmm.
it's just a real coming back into the body and starting to get to know it again, and showing up, leading from that place, ultimately, in
Hmm.
how I see it. Yeah.
It's so true that we disconnect from the body so much just to keep pushing through, to keep going, especially as sensitive people. We disconnect from kind of our biggest source of power, creativity, information, intuition, which is emotion. And we lose that, like our greatest strength. And I love that you said give the body a say. And it can be so simple as eat when you're hungry, move when you have that urge, right? There's easy ways to be embodied in a more intentional way. So, what does embodied power look like? So, getting into the theme of your book, what does that look like for us in our lives?
Well, like you were just touching on right now, it is, that reconnection with the body, getting to know its messages, its signals, when it's a no, when it's a yes, when
Yeah.
it's tired, when it's hungry, if it's thirsty. And again, we're so unfamiliar with these things that are so simple, yet, keep us alive and, here to help us thrive ultimately. But
Hmm.
when we get to know it and, start to honor it, listen to it, and give it what it needs. And it is, acknowledge it can be hard in our current society and way of living and being, and all the things, but doing what we can to come back to that, and yeah, ultimately let it speak, let it have its say, like choosing our body's needs first, and letting go of the conditioning and people's expectations, people pleasing, all the things that we're taught to, how we should be living and doing and being. And yeah, coming back to ourselves ultimately. And you touched on intuition, for example, creativity, those things. So I mean, it's layered and there's a lot of different ways
Hmm.
one can into embodied power, but on a simple level, it is that, I think, coming back in,
Hmm.
getting to know your body and becoming aware of its messages for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like just getting to know yourself or reconnect with yourself. And I almost see it as kind of these layers, like starting with hunger, thirst, movement, and then going deeper down. Would that be true into
Yeah,
intuition or
that's, I mean,
creativity?
I feel that definitely. Yeah, and it often is start with the basics, and you could even look at it. I look at like like the lens of the chakras as well. And so back to basics at the root, your survival. What you need to live, to eat, to breathe. To feed yourself, those sorts of things. And then you can move into the next one, which is sort of creativity and passion and desires, what are they, those sorts of things. And
Right.
then, it isn't quite like an order, but yeah, if you look at those different chakras in the body, if you're familiar with them, you get to understand those needs and desires for each of them. And I guess that can also help open up awareness of, yeah, what you might need, and the
Mm-hmm.
body is, what the body is asking for ultimately.
Yes, exactly. And how, I wonder, how do we start that process?
Mm.
So, how do we start listening? So, I'm just thinking about if I'm not doing that already, and I have been through this process in my life, but it's been many years since I started the
I get it.
shift.
Yeah.
Um, and I do remember a time where I wasn't aware of those bodily impulses or sensations, not really recognizing when I was hungry or getting sick or um, not understanding my emotions. And it was a little bit of a messy crash back in. um,
Yeah.
but just thinking about what are the first steps, if you could share, and if there's an example you could think of if I'm listening, what's something I could do today to start hearing myself or turn my attention back inward?
And that is such a good question, because yeah, there isn't one straight thing. And like you,
Right.
it, a messy journey back into that. And then
Yes.
sort of just happened in a way, but obviously did take time.
Yes.
I think it's as simple as, even when you're faced with a choice, what
Mm.
you think you're hungry, or, just it's just taking that time, that moment, few minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm hungry, or I'm thirsty, or I'm angry, or something's going on. Just stopping.
Yeah. Right.
What am I? And just taking a minute, maybe just to breathe and feel, what's really going on here. Am I, if you're hungry, am I really hungry? And just let
Mm.
yourself see. Maybe you are, and you might not be able to tell. That's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you're thirsty. Maybe you are actually angry, and there's deeper levels. And you could journal, or you could just take a minute and feel into
Yes.
what's actually going on underneath here. And
Yeah.
we don't do that. We're not taught to do that. And but it's these little moments of awareness that then add up to this sort of like, oh, I know myself. But it does stop with that myth that you have to stop somewhere. You can't just continue. You have to stop
Right.
and get to know yourself. Yeah. What would
Yeah,
you say to
exactly.
that? Yeah.
No, I love that because when you said, am I this the question, am I really hungry? And there could be a backing up, there's this could be a broader question, what's really going on here? Because if I am reaching for something to eat, am I hungry or am I frustrated about something? Am I trying to self-soothe in some way? So yeah, just having that pause, which is something I often encourage my clients to do. Let me just check this impulse out for a moment. And you might not get the answer at first, but just having the practice of pausing, being curious, asking yourself those questions, what's going on? Am I really hungry? Am I angry? Am I tired? Have I had a long day? Just being having some exploration around that, I think is a perfect place to start. It's where I would start too,
Yeah.
because we don't know unless we take a look.
Exactly. And even just expressing how you're feeling can actually be very powerful, because let's say you're feeling all over the place, and it's like, I'm angry or I'm hungry. And even saying it, you realize, actually, no, maybe I'm not really, or I don't know. There's something about the power of even speaking it that
Hmm.
enables you to discern what's really going on as well. Like, just to even give yourself that space to actually connect with what you're feeling and voice it, or,
Yes.
think it, can be very powerful in helping to build awareness within, I think. One another.
Absolutely. Because I think as soon as you say it out loud, you can tell if it sounds true or not,
Exactly.
right?
And it's like intuition, some people will feel it, some people will need to speak it, some people might,
Yeah.
want to journal it, or different, as we
Right.
get to know ourselves. I think even the different senses might, play up more for different people as we're
Yeah.
getting to know ourselves. And so it's also maybe experimenting a bit to see what way works for you to bring more awareness to yourself and your body. Yeah.
That's such a good point that find the mode of expression that you're more likely to be able to tap into, whether it be verbal or written or movement or any other way that you express yourself. Those are all valuable. Yeah.
Exactly. And like, that's also like having space held. So, a lot of my
Hmm.
work is about, holding workshops with just a question and then space to allow
Yes.
people to feel into an answer. And often it's, it can be varying questions, but having
Yeah.
that space, so if you can do a workshop or have some prompts even, just to allow yourself to start to get to know what might be going on. Space
Mm-hmm.
is very, very like powerful for getting to know your body, yourself, your power within space.
Yes.
Space always is good, which is, very
Space.
important for highly sensitive people, of course.
It is. It
Yeah.
absolutely is. And I think as humans, we need space, but as highly sensitive people, we need even more space because we're taking
Yes.
so much in, and there's so much noise and pressure to be doing and moving so quickly these days that space is so precious. It's so rare. And all those moments of space that we used to have built in have been taken away because we're on a screen or there's, input coming in some way. So yeah, reclaiming space could be really powerful part of the process. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that completely. Yeah.
And it's such a good reminder that it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simple.
Yeah.
Take a
I think it
moment.
is simple. That's the thing. We overcomplicate it so
Yep.
much.
It's true.
I mean, and also we don't need to go into this, but like even the wellness industry complicates it by adding on things
Yes.
saying you need stuff to help you come back, but
Right.
you don't really.
You
It's
don't really.
often starts within, and then it can
Yes.
build out. But yeah,
It's so
wow.
true. Just taking 5 minutes to sit quietly by your window could do more than, I don't know, buying products or
Oh
whatever
yeah,
it is. Yeah, some
nature. I mean, we haven't even said nature. Like
nature.
getting back into
Yes.
nature is the
Yes.
number one way just to calm your nervous system, your body, your being, ground, and help you start to connect with yourself again, even without an intention. Like you could just be in nature
Yeah.
for 5 minutes a day, every day.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, at the end of, if you did it for a couple of weeks or something, you'd feel different. You'd know yourself better than you did at the beginning. You just would,
You would.
because your body knows what it's doing. It's like homeostasis. It comes back to itself slowly,
Yes.
even in a tiny, tiny way, I believe
Mhm.
anyway,
I
from what I
agree.
know.
I agree because
Yeah.
we can. I think we believe we have to like consciously go through everything to move it through or heal it, but you can do so much somatically in nature by osmosis, where your body, yeah, it's trained sounds like a weird word, but it's inclined to heal itself.
Exactly, exactly.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
And yeah, and movement, like you said as well, is a big one to any kind of movement. Just helps you
Yes.
get out
Agreed.
the hair and come back into the body.
Yes,
So
exactly. And it works all those
yeah.
stress hormones through and just helps release them. Same with being in nature, right? I don't know
Hmm.
all the science behind it, but I know just being in nature, you start to absorb elements
Exactly.
and it's
Oh my goodness,
naturally
what a good thing.
calming.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's many ways to get back
So
in.
many ways. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we're creating some space for ourselves, we're maybe slowing things down, getting into nature, or just giving ourselves some space for expression. But how do we make sure that we're not giving things away to others? Because a lot of times, as we start to reclaim our personal power, we welcome in some of that healing. We may be inclined as HSPs to want to just give it away. So, how can we kind of right that balance and kind of stay rooted in our personal power?
Yeah. And again, it's a bit of a journey and everyone's different, of course,
Yeah, for
with
sure.
this. So I think at the beginning when that happens, it's definitely about boundaries,
Mm,
because it's almost like you kind of reclaimed part of yourself, who you are. You're getting to know it. It's a bit like an early blossoming relationship or a spring, but little bud when it's still tender, delicate. So I think there's something about protecting it a little bit, having boundaries around your energy, your power, whatever you really want to call it. Just this understanding that right now you might be a bit more tender and vulnerable, and you need to look out for you. And of course you still do later, but even more so in the beginning, I think, because it is so easy, just probably because of patterns, conditioning, habits. I've got more, I can give more, kind of thing, or whatever it might be.
yeah.
And so I think realizing you always have to let your nervous system get used to it as well, like as you kind of increase your capacity or whatever else is going on underneath and within the layers. And yeah, it does take some time of just kind of holding that, letting it be uncomfortable. Maybe it's like, oh, I have more energy, I've got more space, I've got more time. This is weird. And it is a kind of like, you almost feel like, yeah, you have to give it away, but you have to almost get used to that, I think, in the beginning, whatever that looks like for you, those boundaries and that kind of protection, of
Mm-hmm.
your energy, your space, etc. And then once you kind of get to know that, it's kind of discernment, I think, and what is aligned for me. Like, so then you start to ask this, yes, no, or, or you play a bit with it. You get to know it, like with anything. And if I do this, support this, how am I going to feel afterwards? Is it going to drain me for the next 2 days, 6 days?
Yeah.
You get to know yourself again, and you'll keep getting to know yourself as you evolve with this, and so yeah, I think that's sort of, yeah, some of the ways just to start to get to what you could do to not give it away, discernment. And then it's a journey from there,
Hmm.
just sort of getting to know where how your energy feels when you've done certain things, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good reminder that we can check in with ourselves after. How am I feeling? What do I need? But also, we can do that preemptively before we make a decision, before we decide to support someone else or show up for someone else. How am I doing? What do I need? Do I have enough bandwidth to move forward? And I appreciate you using the metaphor of like the little bud because that's exactly how it feels at the beginning. Like a little bit vulnerable, a little precious. Not quite have, we don't quite have those strong roots yet. So we have to be really gentle with ourselves. And it's okay to protect yourself. I just was thinking like, oh, protect your power. I was just saying that to myself in my mind as you were talking. Like that's okay to do. We don't have to give it all away.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And just going back to what you said about, yeah, the roots, I think it is growing those roots, and what that,
Yeah.
well, they do have to grow deeper for you to
Yes.
be able to flourish more and give, grow your branches. And that can take different forms. Something I just that came into my mind was, I like to do sort of challenges with myself, and have done for years now. So, and they often actually revolve around the things like the basic nourishment, nutrition, kind of things like that. So I play a lot with fasting and cleansing,
Hmm.
just because it's something that I enjoy, and I I live in the tropics. It's also quite conducive to it,
Yes.
and a lot easier definitely than winters,
Hmm.
in the far northern hemisphere. But so I'd often do things like, or just eating really healthy live foods for 2 weeks or something, just to
Hmm.
really experiment, cutting out all processed foods, caffeine. I'd stopped drinking alcohol, which was, it came through experimenting not drinking alcohol for a month,
Mm.
and just realizing how I changed. And we know it doesn't help
Yes.
us, but if
Right.
you do these, it took me a number of challenges or times, really being experimenting with certain things to sort of get to know myself
Yeah.
and deepen my roots, so that I can, get to know myself
Mm.
even better, show up even more for myself in my power, and do more things, be more, etc., that I want, that I'm choosing for my life. So
Hmm.
there's something around, yeah, you get to play with it a little bit. It's
Yeah.
just, I see it as play. I'm not sure everyone else will, but it's like, different. It's what supports you, like or it could be journaling every day. I didn't, morning pages for 6 months
Mm-hmm.
or for a month, just or even a week, and just
Right.
noticing how you feel, what nourishes you, what sustains you, what builds you. And as you do this, and I know you're so aware of these things, it just builds your toolbox of what kind of feeds you and what nourishes you, so that
Right.
you get to bring more of that and you into the world as you want to, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I love that idea of carving out these intentional spaces. I've also been a person who's done, I used to work in natural foods for before I became a therapist, so tried all the things.
Yes, yes, love it.
And it is, it's kind of my version of fun, like, my version of fun is like getting together with friends and meditating or, doing things like that,
Exactly.
right? Doing
Mhm.
readings, just a bunch of
Yeah,
HSPs connecting on a spiritual
exactly,
level. And
exactly.
but having those times where it's all about self exploration and trying things on and because you're saying like you said with alcohol you didn't really know the impact maybe or that you didn't want to incorporate it until you took a break and you're like oh yeah and the same has happened to me with certain foods or things that I've done in my life where it's like oh I actually feel a lot better or more connected to myself and I didn't
Yeah,
realize how I was
yeah,
feeling before.
exactly. And that's what I'm on to now. I mean, alcohol's been a number of years for me now, but it's now
Hmm.
foods, and it's just
Yeah.
realizing certain foods give me brain fog and don't work for me anymore. And
Yes.
it's sad, but I'm playing with that now, because I want to feel energized and well, and
Yes.
you can feel so good, and you don't realize how bad you are feeling until you cut these things out or experiment with it and see how good you can feel. And that's like, wow,
Yes.
why wouldn't I want that for myself?
Exactly. And what it sounds like an kind of a way to I don't know, step into your personal power of I'm nourishing my body, I'm doing things that are aligned for me, and I'm going to feel even better, which sounds amazing.
Absolutely. But just to acknowledge also, this has been a journey.
Yeah.
I didn't start here at all by, it would have been impossible for me like 10 years ago, 15 years ago to cut out the things I did today
Yeah.
because often there's layers of healing and trauma in those
Yeah.
things that have happened and been held and released and, etc.
Hmm.
throughout the years. So I just want to say that it might like be like, okay, it's like easy for you to do this now, but at the beginning
Hmm.
of my journey, it really wasn't because you just
Yeah.
start with the little things as we kind of talked about in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because if someone is on the at the I'm just thinking about myself 20, 25 years ago at the very beginning. Yeah, there's no way I was doing things
Yeah.
that I'm doing now then. It was a very incremental shift over decades.
Yeah.
And I think
Exactly.
it'll continue for even more decades because my philosophy is we're always healing, we're always growing. That's a
Mhm.
lifelong pursuit.
Yeah.
So I don't put the pressure on myself to do it all right now. And also
Yeah.
as HSPs, we want to deep dive, we want to do all the things. So just yeah, a
Yeah.
reminder just to pace yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And as you say that, it makes me think this is it. It's the slowing down. It's the long game, I suppose. This
Yeah,
quick fix, instant gratification life. And I've, wanted it.
sure.
I still can find myself wanting it. But it's the slow savoring the little
Yeah.
things that are so
Yes.
powerful for us as HSPs, especially, but for the world and power in the world, in my opinion. But just, yeah,
Yes.
that made me think of that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we keep coming back to it, but there's so much value in slowing down,
Mhm.
getting
Yeah.
quiet with yourself.
Well,
Yeah.
the whole world needs that, in
Oh,
my
we need
opinion.
it so
Right.
bad. We really do. And it's a good reminder that, what HSPs need, everybody could benefit from. We just
We
tend
just
to,
feel it more. We're so acute. We acutely feel it. We get what we need.
exactly.
In my opinion, yeah,
Exactly.
what
It's
I
true.
feel.
Like we're the like
Yeah,
lightning rods or
yeah,
however you want to say it.
exactly. We can tell you because we feel it so much more on so many levels, good and bad.
Exactly. And another
Yeah,
reason to kind of own your power or your position as an HSP, I think we often put ourselves to the side of like, oh, we're the weaker group in society, and it's not true. We have everybody has an equal place, but we do have a very specific role of bringing things to light.
and yeah, and within that, there's something even came up in conversation with someone earlier today who's an
Yeah.
HSP empath person, colleague, and it's just really advocating for ourselves. And you're doing this through your platform, which is so
Mm,
incredible. But
thank you.
even as an individual, like because
Yeah.
we're so used to being, oh, I'm so sensitive, or I'm so sorry, I'm being fussy, or I'm being too much,
Right.
or and I still hear myself
Yep.
saying these things or thinking them if I haven't said them. But we have to advocate. No, I am
Yep.
sensitive. I need this, this, and this, or I'm just not gonna have that
Yes.
because too much. And
Yes.
we don't advocate for ourselves enough. So
No.
this is a whole this goes a bit
I
further in
know.
that, but it's definitely there.
But
Made me
I,
think.
I do see this in the realm of power, at least in the way that I'm thinking of it. And you
Mm,
may have a different perception of it, given that you wrote the book. Um, but it is about, I think, using our voice and believing that we have value and stepping into that role that we have, as I, just mentioned. I think there is a lot of power in that and saying, I'm okay just as I am, and I'm going to do what I need to do to take care of myself so I can be the best version of who I am instead of feeling like I need to kind of hide away and just get through life and be off to the side.
I mean, no, I'm with you. That's what the book is about. It's being more
Yeah.
you, letting yourself be you
Yeah.
completely. Yeah. And taking up that space as you or whatever that means to you or looks like
Yes.
in life. Yeah.
Which is very exciting to me because, being kind of really immersed in the HSP community and just kind of watching how conversations go in different circles online or in person. And a lot of HSPs do. I feel sad because a lot of HSPs do kind of set their power aside or don't recognize it or don't have access to it or feel like they have to live like everyone else does and then they get stripped of that. And there's
Yeah.
too much noise to see, oh, here's what I really need. Here's who I really am. Here's what I can offer myself and everyone else. Um, so yeah, I always appreciate having these conversations just to remind folks that sensitivity isn't what we've potentially made it out to be. It's actually there's a lot of value there.
That is your power.
It
Your
is.
sensitivity is your power.
Thank you. Yes, exactly.
100% your power, I feel.
Right?
Yeah.
And it
That's
can be powerful,
oh yeah.
right?
Oh yes. And I think, yeah,
Yes.
when we own that sense, own who we are and our that what it means to be sensitive. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh, that feels exciting. I think
Doesn't
more
it
of
feel
us do
exciting?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I wonder if we could start then talking about just how sensitivity or softness or things that are often, I think, perceived as more weak can actually be a form of strength and a form of personal power. Yeah. Why do you think
Yeah.
that is? Or if we
Well,
can make
firstly, I
some
mean, it takes
connections there.
courage to be sent to be soft. It takes so
Yes.
much courage in this world to allow yourself to soften, to be vulnerable, to, open your heart. I mean, I see it really in this part of your body, and
Yes.
like that. And when you allow yourself to be soft, you
Mm.
create connection. You really hear someone, see someone. You're more open to that.
Yes.
You're more open to your gifts and your intuition, and your creativity and who you truly are. And that's so courageous to be that in the world. And sorry, yeah, I forgot what your question was
I know.
exactly.
It's okay. We're just kind of going through it. Um, but you're
Lost my
so
train
right
of thought.
that, being more soft is vulnerable, but it does take a lot of, I think, I'm always reminding my clients of this, that to feel this deeply while living your life, doing everything that everyone else is doing, it takes a lot of resilience. It takes a lot of power. It takes a lot of strength. Um, Especially, it's not just feeling, but it's sensing, it's
Yeah,
intuiting. Because
yeah.
just trying to put this into words, this feeling. Because
Mm,
if you're walking through the world as an HSP, you have all these antennae out, um, and picking up on all these little sensations and clues and pieces of information, and which then is sparking emotion in you, and you're picking up on other people's emotions. It's a very busy inner world that's happening.
yeah,
And to
yeah,
feel and be with all of that at such a deep level, it does take a lot of strength to do that. You know, we're
yeah.
we're really feeling and opening ourselves up to everything that's happening in the world. And let's be honest, right now it's a lot. Um, and I guess it surprises me how much we think that we aren't powerful to
Mm.
do all
Oh
that.
yeah. I think, I mean, I'll speak for myself, but and a lot of people I've worked with as well, but we shut it down a lot of that,
Yeah.
when the world is overwhelming and too much. I mean, whilst I was sort of on, I guess, my healing journey, for lack of a better way of describing it, I wish, I had shut down a lot of my senses massively. So I didn't have to feel so much. So I didn't have to receive so much and deal with so much.
Hmm.
And but it's through, coming back into, and I think health is a huge part of it, feeling good in yourself and
Yeah.
nourishing and, looking after yourself on a physical level, that yeah, you're able to open up so much more to, yeah, the senses that you talked about, the antenna, and to receive all
Hmm.
that. And then you do remember, what a gift, and what a, how powerful it really is. And then it's like, okay, now we turn on, we can go like this, it's creative, it's magical, it's intuitive, it's so powerful on so many levels that
Yes.
we know, but the world hasn't even really experienced yet. I don't think we could go so much further with our sensitive powers, I think, in the
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, we could.
Mm.
And I think
Time. I think it's time.
it's
That's why we're
time.
here. That's
That's
why we're
exactly it.
here. I
It's
believe we are here because we feel so much. We know what the world needs. Bring it into balance, to balance this crazy world that we live in right now, which we don't know to go into. But oh my goodness, the sensitivity, this to slow down, to live more cyclically, to allow, rest and honor, the different qualities of humans, not just forcing, pushing the more masculine qualities, etc., that have been, um, put in
mhm.
front of ones, for example, and just so many things that sensitivity can show you, can bring you, can open you up to. And yeah, there's just so much.
Yes, I love it. I can feel it. Like that's why we're here, right?
Yeah,
That's why we exist as sensitive people, is we do
I
have
believe
all
that.
these gifts to come that want and need to come to the surface. And if we allow ourselves that space to reconnect inward, to be in our bodies, and I know, like you said, we tend to want to cut off because it is a lot to feel it.
Mhm.
However, I found that it becomes a lot more tolerable, easy, exciting when I am doing my somatic practices, when I am getting into nature, when I am nourishing my body, kind of taking out all the gunk and the noise and focusing on nourishing in whatever way that is. And it's a lot easier to be present within. Now, again,
Yeah.
it's a journey.
It's a journey,
It's
definitely.
a
Yeah,
journey. But that does really shift the tides.
it really, really does. Yeah,
It really
yeah. And
does.
I think,
Yes.
what the space you offer, being a part of a community and recognizing you're not alone, is so important,
Oh,
especially in the beginning. I mean, all of the time, but especially in the early days when you're starting to realize that you're, why you're different from a lot of people as well,
yeah.
and why things take longer or affect you more, or
Hmm.
etc. I mean, even now, like, why am I so sensitive to certain foods and my partner isn't? It's frustrating sometimes, but
Yep.
that's my gift too. And yeah,
Yeah.
actually,
It's
there's a little a story of a friend of mine who's also very sensitive. Like, I mean, I'm the same, but if someone in the house uses, chemicals in their cleaning products, it's awful. I mean, I can't breathe. It will block me up for days. And it's like, we can tell that this is not good for you, but other
yep.
people don't mind. And you see, this is,
Yep.
why where this, like, we are needed, because it's not good for you. We know
Yep.
it's not. And we
Yep.
can tell that. We just,
Mm-hmm.
we are, whereas other people wouldn't notice
Yep.
till it's too late, or
Yep.
calming them in some way. There you go. That's a tiny little random example, but I think that we are
Yeah.
needed, and that's why we're here. Our sensitivities can
Mm-hmm.
tell.
That
Hmm.
I get excited when you bring up that example because that is one of my biggest, I don't know if pet peeve is the right word, but something that really bothers me in life is, yeah, when everyone is using all these chemicals these days, like fragrances and things that that will not leave your clothes no matter how hard you try. And I'm like, that's a problem.
Oh my
That
goodness,
cannot
that's
be good
the
for you.
biggest thing. Yeah, it's not. I mean,
Yeah,
some of these, like, they disrupt your hormones, your endocrine system, and some of the chemicals in them, right? That's as
right,
much as I know. But I do know that there's other things that they do.
for
But
sure.
one of my biggest pet peeves. I mean, it's debilitating. So I literally
Mm.
won't go out to certain places if I know that there's going to be lots of people wearing perfumes and things,
Yeah,
because stand it. It's way too
yeah.
much, and it's nauseating. I get headaches and
Mm-hmm.
multiple things, and it
Yeah.
stays on you, and I can taste it. Like, oh
Same.
my gosh, it's awful. Hmm.
Same. I
Yeah.
have I think we're having the same reaction because I'll get headaches and I get congestion or allergies.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
even like walking, so my wife and I will do an evening walk, and sometimes you'll walk by a house that you can smell the laundry from the sidewalk.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then you're right,
Yeah.
you can taste it.
You can taste it. For me,
Yeah.
it's like I go to a forest to get fresh air, to walk, to, like, to nourish myself, and you get people walking with nasty cologne, and I can
Yes.
walk. I have to change directions and find another route,
Yep.
because it can taste you for the next 200
Exactly.
meters or something. It's
It's
disgusting.
true. It's
Can't stand it.
true. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of, well, I think probably there's two layers. One, other people's senses aren't as fine-tuned as ours. And then two, you kind of get nose blindness where you don't smell it anymore.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So then for an HSP who's a little more sensory sensitive, it's
Hmm.
completely overwhelming. And yeah, we do have those physical reactions, which is an indicator like something is not okay here.
Exactly.
And we are the canaries in the coal mine, right? We're
Hmm.
the ones that sense that something is a little bit off before everyone else can.
Already catches up and realizes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's just, this is just one example of so many.
So many. Exactly.
And there's a
Yeah.
reason why, just to get a little technical, there's a reason why, evolutionary speaking, that sensitivity has persisted throughout
Oh,
thousands
I
of
love it.
years,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? In our human, and not just humans, but in animals and
Yeah,
insects
no, well,
and
exactly. Children, for goodness sake, are like so
yes,
sensitive, and then
exactly.
it gets dulled and numbed
Right.
later on. In the
Exactly.
majority, of them are so sensitive.
For
But yeah,
sure. And there's a reason for that. Yeah, usually if a family has multiple children, you get different temperaments, and that sensitive one is important. So is the non-sensitive, maybe more extroverted one too. You need someone that's going to just jump right in. You need someone who's going to hang back and notice the little details like, I think something's
details.
off here. Maybe we all would be better if we didn't eat that food or use that chemical or whatever it is. Um, yeah, there's
Also to bring balance, right? Even so, we need,
yes.
yeah, as well. So we need all of it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's got so out of balance with one way, and the more
Yeah.
extroverted, pushy,
Mm-hmm.
forward ones, and we need that sensitive, intuitive, creative, softer, gentler
Yes.
approach to come back in to support everyone, because we care about, I think, personally, I believe we care about the whole more as well. We see that more. We, you
Yeah.
feel the things more
Yes.
than many. They're not.
We really do. Exactly. So yeah, hopefully listeners will kind of, I hope they'll be inspired and will just this can remind them that, or remind you that there is power in softness and sensitivity and quiet. There's a deeper meaning for it.
Yeah. And there's more
And
meaning. There's so many
oh, so
gifts of it.
many.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just, yeah,
Yeah, we're only scratching the surface here.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. I'm wondering, as we start to wrap up, if there is maybe some final thoughts for folks who are listening who are wanting to maybe reconnect with themselves, reconnect with their personal power. Are there any final thoughts that you want to leave folks with?
I just, I think it's that just a reminder that, yeah, your sensitivity is your strength, your power, because it is so easy to dismiss it and forget that. So, and just push it aside or think you need to change or be different or something else to have, to live in the world we live in. But if you remember, it's your power for a reason, even if you don't know why in that moment, when life gets tough sometimes and you feel so sensitive, just remember it's your power. And I think that's it. Just that remembering and knowing can help move you forward, and just remember you are needed because you're you. Like, you have gifts because of your sensitivity. So that's okay. It
Mm,
is your power.
I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you,
Simple.
Tara. And what a beautiful reminder that you are needed because of who you are, right? Your unique version of sensitivity is just right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
hopefully we can take care of ourselves to be able to nurture that sensitivity and reconnect with the strengths of it.
Yes. And oh my goodness. Oh, that gift, and like that journey and exploration is so much fun
Yes.
when you let yourself go into that and get to know yourself. Because
Yes.
said we like to deep dive, and you get to deep dive even to yourself. And I just find
Yes.
it so incredible. It's quite fun
Oh,
to
it
get
is
to know.
incredible.
Mm,
It really
yeah.
is. There's so much inside to
So much
discover.
magic, so many different levels and layers. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you so much for this really rich conversation, Tara.
Yeah.
I really appreciate all that you're doing and the resources that you create. And I know you have a new book coming out. Also, we make sure to share all of those things in the show notes. But you have a book coming out on November 27th, Embodied Power. Can you tell listeners a little bit more about it?
Yeah. And thank you so much as well for this conversation. Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's ultimately what we've talked about, to be honest. It is, for the visionary leader who never really fit in. So sensitive people ultimately. But,
Yes.
and I see a leader because I think we're all leading in some way, whether it's you're leading yourself or you're
Mhm.
leading, a group of people in a business, or whether you're a teacher or, writing a book. I think we all are here to lead in our own
Mhm.
ways. And it's ultimately about, yeah, stepping into your power, who you are in the world, letting yourself be more you.
Mhm.
And I've kind of got sort of 5 elemental gateways within it. Power is the
Mhm.
main one. And then we've got love, which is a deeper dive into the body and really, exploring what it means to be in a body as well.
Mhm.
Magic, which is,
Mhm.
you have magical powers and gifts. Let's use them. We can do
Yes.
more. The power is, magic is power. It doesn't have to just be the traditional things we have, been taught to
Right.
believe. And so we need to use our magic. And it's open. It's, it's broad. You
Mhm.
can see what there's things that will resonate, things that might not.
Mhm.
And then there's money, because we do need money in
Mm.
our
Yes, we
world.
do.
And but it invites you to look at money with a, in a more cyclical way, and
Mm.
sort of giving and receiving, as well as more of a flow with money, as opposed to just hoarding and those sorts of things.
Sure.
It's changing our relationship with money.
Mhm.
um and then leadership.
Leadership.
So the last bit, and that is ultimately about leading yourself, like being a leader for you, and then how that ripples out into the world. So
Oh, I love
it's
it. It seems like you're
exciting.
covering a wide range there
What a,
in how power shows up and how to pull it into your life.
yeah. And just because it's not meant, it's like a, I guess, a toolbox of different things. You could use it
Mhm.
like an oracle card, you could open a bibliomancy tool, you could open up to a
Wow.
random page, or just pick a, look at the contents, pick a page you're
Mhm.
interested in, work with that, and maybe that's it. Or if, let it open
Perfect.
up a random page, whatever. Yeah.
I love that.
It's lots to work with, and just let support you. And it includes personal story tips,
Mhm.
tools, as well as just kind of story, kind of poetry type
Oh,
pieces
yeah.
with activating kind of energies, which I feel can sit with you long afterwards. And it's the kind of
Yes.
book, honestly, that the frequency and the energy just kind of stays with you. I've noticed myself living it,
Mm-hmm.
even writing it, as I'm sure you'll know with books, they have an
Yes.
energy. So
Yes.
honestly, there's something about the power of it that is can just
Yeah.
activate what you need for you. And the few
Mm-hmm.
people that have read it so far have definitely sort of said that as well. So maybe it will do that for you
I love that.
too.
It can be a kind of a companion for your embodiment work for, as a tool of reflection and reconnecting with yourself. And you can kind of tap into whatever you're called to within the book. Love that.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly. Thank
Well,
you.
Tara,
That's
thank you so much.
so
I'll
much.
encourage folks to pick up your book the end of November. They can pre-order it now.
Yes.
And I
Yes. And
will.
there's some bonuses if you are able and you catch this before. There's some pre-order bonuses,
Oh,
which is a
perfect.
companion workbook, a PDF companion
Oh.
workbook, but also a live workshop on the launch date itself, which is a Meet Your Leadership Dragon workshop.
Oh.
Dragons kind of form the different elemental gateways because dragons are part of my magic,
Mm-hmm.
and create a physical touch point of it within the session. So it'll be recorded. So if you can't join live, that's fine. I think your time zone, it might be quite early as well.
Uh-huh.
But it will be, yeah, like meet your leadership dragon through a visualization and then the space to
Mm.
actually create it or create something from that to actually, yeah, spend some time and space, yeah,
Love
putting it down
this.
in whatever way appeals to you.
Oh,
So they'll,
amazing.
but they'll be available after anyway. But yeah, if you do get
Okay,
to
perfect.
people, they're there as a gift. Yeah.
Oh, I love this. It's a whole kind of toolbox of resources that are coming through with this book.
Yeah,
Oh, I love it
definitely.
so much. Yeah, I'll make sure I share all of those details in the show notes for folks so they can tap in and just use those as they need to. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, April.
Thank
And
you,
thank you for
Tara.
everything you do.
Of course, and thank you. This was a lovely conversation today.